Success without fulfillment is worse than failure. I am an Ayurvedic doctor and I run a successful practice. People die because of overconsumption problems. I can't go to a pharmacy or a doctor and solve it. So you have to change your lifestyle. Either you change your lifestyle or you have to learn to endure it. We are designed to consume as much sweet, salt and fat. If you want to start a junk food company, you just need to tick these three. Today, if you have a disease, it's much easier to say no to things. The word incurable, I think we are overtly using it. Just because in your laboratory you are not able to prove it and cure it does not mean everywhere else it is incurable. People are today very averse to boredom. That is the biggest cause of health problems today. They constantly have the food they want, they have drama at home, and then they have television, they have mobile phones, they have work. They want to kill themselves. The way they eat, the way they drink, the way they behave. We live in a very impatient, fast, instant gratification culture.
Some people follow perfect diets and still don't heal. What are they missing? So, Dr. Vignesh, tell me, most people come to Ayurveda after years of failed treatments, years of failed attempt to treat in different formats. Can you share a real case where the diagnosis was incurable in modern science, but Ayurveda saw something completely different and changed the case?
See, in today's world, when I say I am an Ayurvedic doctor and I run a successful practice, what it actually means is I have a front row seat in seeing the leftover patients of the allopathic system. Now, please, no disrespect to allopathic system. I have extremely high regards. I mean, today's longevity, which people talk about longevity, it is all because of allopathic system, a lot of it. Like antibiotics, painkillers, I mean, emergency care. When you see somebody with a cardiac problem, and if you have an ICU and access to a good cardiology department, it's like you are at an intersection. If I go this way, death. If I go this way, I can survive.
Survive, yeah.
So, credit to that. But today, the word incurable is a very, I think we are overtly using it. And just because in your laboratory you are not able to prove it and cure it, does not mean everywhere else it is incurable.
Correct.
And I'm not saying Ayurveda can cure everything. Please, that is far from what I'm trying to explain here. We get many patients, especially with autoimmune conditions. Like, let somebody came with fibromyalgia. A lady in her, close to her perimenopause and menopausal stage, she comes with a severe pain in her body. Perimenopause and fibromyalgia, it's like fire and wind. It's like forest fire together. On one hand, it's like, you go to gym and you work out, and after that you have a soreness in your muscles.
Yeah.
Now imagine you live with that soreness
All the time.
all the time. And that is how it feels for them from their perspective. That is how it feels for them. And usually these patients who gets diagnosed with fibromyalgia, they would have gone to a lot of doctors and orthopedic specialists, and then or somebody who specialized in arthritis conditions, and then suddenly they tell them it's an incurable disease. You have to learn to live with it or take these immunosuppressants or painkillers. This is what they come. So when they come for an Ayurvedic treatment, it is not like we reverse it like that and give some secret herbs from Himalayas. One thing that we observe is a lot of their emotional patterns and their lifestyle and their gut health, all of this put together, we have to correct it. You see, sometimes when you see a tree, let's say the leaves are not healthy. You just don't go and paint the leaves or correct the leaves. You go to the root.
Yeah.
You make sure if there is any pollution happening around the tree, we need to correct that.
The soil is right.
Soil is right. Is the tree getting the right irrigation, right manure, and the right surrounding?
Yeah. The environment becomes more important.
Important. So the same approach, we do it here. And it is not like we reverse it completely. In many cases, we minimize the condition. In many cases, we also improve their overall immunity so that the body's threshold is getting better.
Yeah, can cope with it.
Yeah, can cope with it better. So in this condition, she comes for a 3 to 4 weeks of Panchakarma. I mean, we don't do the intensive Panchakarma right away. We start with other therapies. We correct her sleep. We correct her diet. We give her a safe space to open up wherever the emotional blockages are. And at the end, she says, okay, it's not like the pain has gone, but what it used to be has severely come down. So this is just one of the tip of the iceberg that what we deal with on a daily basis.
Can you tell me what exactly is Panchakarma? Can you explain it so the common man understands? Because Ayurveda also is a very well marketed term. When it comes to beauty products, if Ayurveda is written on it, you naturally think, like you said, herbs from the Himalayas. It's organic, it's cruelty free. It has to be made at home somewhere. It's a recipe by a Baba, Sadhu. That's the kind of like modern marketing has done to the word Ayurveda. So, can you explain what Panchakarma is in its true form?
So before I explain Panchakarma, let me explain what is Ayurveda from my own words. So Ayurveda is a very ancient documentation of how human beings interacted with their ecosystem. Like centuries ago, they made a documentation. When a man or a woman or a child, when they behaved in this particular way, in this environment, eating this food, having these emotions, they had these problems. And when they lived like this, they had it's just a documentation. Many of it are more relevant today than any other time. Some of it need not be relevant today. So this is my explanation of what is Ayurveda. When people ask me what is Ayurveda, this is it. Very ancient sages who are very meditative, very intuitive, and who are very clear observants of how human beings interacted with their surroundings. They documented that, and this documentation is what we call as Ayurveda, the longevity, the science of longevity or vitality. You can put it. Now, Panchakarma is one aspect of that. Now, in Ayurvedic textbooks, any human disease that we suffer with, you can broadly classify it into two types: diseases of overconsumption and diseases of malnourishment. Sometimes, something is missing in your body.
Yeah.
Let's say you're dehydrated, you have a problem, you're hypoglycemic, or let's say you have deficiency of iron.
Yeah.
You see, anemia is a big problem.
It's
So,
common.
It's common.
Yeah.
So these are diseases of malnourishment. And on the other hand, you have diseases of overconsumption because you have a very luxury life, first world problems. You eat more, you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or you have obesity, or you have too much stress,
Yeah.
and that is creating high blood pressure or sometimes insomnia. So either the problems are something is missing in the body or something is excess in the system. And those days they wrote, problems of excess are exclusive to people who are close to the kings or the kings. Because those days the food technology was not so great, and
Correct.
not many people had the luxury to have everything, and sedentary lifestyle was very exclusive to people who were close to the kings because the rest of the population was supporting them.
Yeah.
But today the technology developed. There's a saying I read, what was available to Bill Clinton in the early 90s, a common fisherman in Kerala has access to it.
Correct.
From the mobile phone and whatever access that. So the technology has gotten so better and the food is abundant today.
Yeah.
I don't know about the quality of the food, but the access to easy food is very high.
Yeah, the volumes are there.
Exactly. And it was written those days, when the quality of life gets better in a community, the problems of human beings' health will change from problems of malnourishment to overconsumption.
Agreed.
So today we have more problems of every time when I go do a workshop and make them aware what is health and how to integrate Ayurveda into their life, this is one question I ask. In your circle, did you ever know somebody who died because they didn't get any food?
No.
We read that in news in some parts of the world. Yes, there are diseases of malnourishment, but we read that in news or we read that in history books.
Yeah.
Today people die because of overconsumption problems. So those days it was written, when a man is or a woman is suffering with overconsumption, a protocol was designed for them, and that is what is Panchakarma. That is how Panchakarma was come into existence. Today that is becoming more and more relevant because today we have more problems of overconsumption.
Yeah.
And see, problems of malnourishment, I can solve it by going to a pharmacy. But problems of overconsumption, I can't go to a pharmacy or a doctor and solve it. I have to change my lifestyle. I have to change my approach of how I deal with my emotions, how I deal with my stress, and how I deal with my
that's
daily
more
life.
coming from habits.
Exactly. So, in order to change that, you put a person in a disciplined, structured environment so that he is distraction free, and along with that you put that person through a certain therapeutic protocols that will help the body to let go. See, we don't have to reinvent the body to eliminate what it does not want. Body already does that, but we just give a safe space so that the body does it in a much more effortless manner.
Yeah, it's like giving discipline in a mindful environment, because in our day-to-day life, we don't have time. We don't have time to pause and think, oh, how much am I over consuming? What am I over consuming? What kind of stress am I taking without even realizing? And like you said, if it is done in a controlled environment where I'm made to look and reflect on lifestyle, consumption, way of being, then it becomes easier to deal. If you tell me in my normal rut of life, everyone's running, 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 like there's always something next to do. And you tell me, hey, from morning to night, can you write down everything you thought and you did and you ate? It's very tough for me. I'll mostly ignore it and be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll let you know, I'll send it to you. And that next Monday will never come, me sending it to you. So you're absolutely right. That environment created. So you're saying the environment created is Panchakarma to do the reflection of where the overconsumption is coming or where the lifestyle is not corrected. The correction comes in that.
So, Panchakarma, these are 5 procedures that are helpful when a person is having problems of excess or overconsumption. So, there are 5 procedures that I mentioned in Ayurveda. Not that all the 5 procedures are required. Maybe 2 is required or 3 is required, depending on where the excess is located in the body. Accordingly, that person is put through a protocol in a structured environment, and certain therapies are done to them so that that excess is released. You see, when something is missing, it's easy to top it up.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say I'm having hypoglycemia. I just take a candy, or I'm having dehydration, drink water, or
Yeah,
let's
low
say
on iron, take iron supplements.
or vitamin D is low. Get sunlight or take some vitamin D. But let's say my cholesterol is very high, or certain parameters are very high in my body. You can't just let go of it.
Yeah, the deduction
Yeah.
doesn't happen
So
that
you have to
easy.
change your lifestyle. So that lifestyle change, along with following these protocols of Panchakarma, it is a way to remove that excess. If you look at these 5 procedures, so we have these 3 protocols. In Sanskrit, it's said Shamanam, Shodhanam, Brahmanam. It's a Sanskrit words, but if I have to explain to a layman's language, like you asked, first we put the body through a relaxation protocol. Like many people don't sleep on time. They have irregular sleeping patterns. They have aches and pains in different parts of the body. First, we do therapies like the potli massage and abhyangam. These are done for the body to relax. So many people, they say, after I go for a good massage, I feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Or if they do therapies like shirodhara or potli, finally my body, oh my God, I had a lot of stiffness. That
It's
part
gone.
is being relaxed. And then we put them through a protocol where they sleep on time, wake up on time, eat on time. This is where the body really relaxes, putting them through a routine. And then the second part is what we do is reduction. This is where Panchakarma comes. So there are 5 procedures. One is Nasyam, where we pour oil or certain liquids to the nose, like herbal liquids. So when you have excess mucus related problems on the upper respiratory tract, it opens up the nasopharyngeal duct. The second one is when people have excess of, if you see a dog and they don't feel good, they go and eat the grass. After they vomit, they feel better. Or if you look at patients who have migraine,
Yeah.
suddenly when the migraine comes, they have this nausea. And they say after they vomit, that pain is gone.
Correct.
And if you see people when they drink or eat something which the body doesn't like, one of the ways the body responds is you vomit it out.
Yeah.
So when patients who have excess mucus related problems, like high mucus, we call it high kapha, because of their food habits or certain genetic protocols, genetic patterns that their body is having. And also if they eat a lot of heavy sugary food that can produce mucus in your system. And in these conditions, doing a vamana, or what we call it as, a therapeutic therapeutic vomiting, this is a way to release that. So this is the second procedure. Third procedure is we clean the gut, we give you some medicine, and you have a therapeutic diarrhea. It's like we give you something that irritates the gut and you cleanse it out.
Eliminates
It
everything.
eliminates away. But please, this is not something that can be done at home.
Yeah.
This is to be done in a very supervised, with a doctor's monitoring is done. And there is a clear explanation who should do it, who should not do it.
Yeah, you can't judge for
Yeah.
yourself that
Yeah.
I'll just pop this pill and I'll release.
Usually when I talk about this, people think, oh my God, how is he going to do all this? But you see, when somebody is going through, let's say, a flu, they have running nose, they have headaches, they avoid going out, they eat very healthy, they go to sleep on time, they wake up on time, they are completely like disconnected from the world. They put their body and mind on a flight mode when they have flu. And same thing here, we are putting the body on a, not on a flu, but it's like a therapeutic protocol where the body is, we are allowing the body to cleanse before a disease comes. And many people, when they say, okay, after the flu, I'm going to feel better, because the body's resilience comes back. So these are the 3 protocols I mentioned. The 4th one is sometimes we do enema. And the 5th one is what we do is bloodletting. So this is, in certain people, these are giving them a very good results. And we have to make sure that who is the right person for this, and who's, if it is not the right person, it should not be done. This is not for everyone. Please understand this.
You know, Panchakarma sounds very exotic and very intimidating. Do you think that this not only changes a person's physical being, but also their personality and mental being and clarity?
See, one of the biggest, let's say you are running a IT's customer service. Let's say people call you for when some of the hardwares or softwares that you're running is not working. The most used support system when somebody calls a customer service, my laptop is not working, or a phone is not working, or let's say an electronic device is not working, is can you try turning it off and turning it on?
Yeah.
This is the first thing they ask.
Correct.
And the same thing, it's not we can turn it off completely, we just take a pause. So you're taking a pause from your rest of the world, and you come for a 2 to 3 weeks, it's like a pilgrimage. And you go through certain food, you sleep on time, you're distraction free, you disconnect from the outside world, and you eat healthy. And along with that, with meditation, with yoga, with a lot of counseling that happens, along with that, you go through this purification process. Naturally, you realize, oh my God, I never felt so good in my life. See, our mind has a tendency to adopt, like few years ago, we had this word called new normal.
Yeah.
And we new normalize everything. Okay, welcome to life. This is how life is. You have to be stressed. You have to be like this. You have to, because we forgot the reference point.
Yeah.
So today, many people have normalized their sickness. Normalized means you have to live like this. So when they come and go through this process, and they see that, oh, how my body feels when I sleep on time, how my body feels when I eat light, how my body feels when I actually avoid my binging patterns, how my body feels when I slow down. People don't have that memory, what it means to when they live like that. So that memory is what happens. That memory gets refreshed in their system.
Yeah, it's a reset.
Yeah, it's a reset. And once they understand, then they go back to their life, and then they say, okay, maybe I have to slow down. I don't have to deal with my. So this is my new identity. That is what happens when they go through that process.
A lot of people think like detox is about like juices and fasting and, fast cleanses that they're marketed to us nowadays. What is the most misunderstood aspect of Panchakarma according to you?
See, detox is a very lazy word to translate what Panchakarma is. Panchakarma is not detoxification, it is more of regulation. We are eliminating what is excess in your body, what your body doesn't need. And at the same time, regulating and upgrading your metabolic functions of your body. So this is, for a lack of better word, we lose a lot of, the word lost in translation. Sanskrit words, when you try to translate in English, a lot of things, for a lack of better word, people use detoxification.
Correct.
But it is eliminating the excess what your body doesn't need, and correcting and upgrading your metabolic efficiency of your body. This is what I will call Panchakarma. This is a better way to understand what Panchakarma does. Detoxification means you put the body through an extreme. We never put a person through starvation. We never put a person, because your body also needs to be strong to go through that process. We actually tell them, no, you have to make sure that you eat. But certain procedures, during those procedures, it can be not so easy, because you're letting the body clean. At that time, it's going to be a challenging part. But we never put the body through an extreme.
A lot of people are really validating water fast nowadays. A week's water fast, 10 days, 40 days, 50 days. It helps your body reset, your body eats up its own dead cells, and there are lots of concepts about it in the market and on social media and things like that. And I think people who are unaware kind of buy into it quickly because it sounds like a shortcut. It's a quick solution instead of actually changing your lifestyle, your thought process, your personality, clarity. That's a lot of hard work, right? But like a 5-day water fast would be a quick fix. Let's say that's how it's been marketed to us, and we'll do it. It'll reset everything in my body. What are your thoughts on that?
See, when you put your body through certain extreme things, unless you have a proper recovery, like for example, I used to practice a lot in North Kerala. North Kerala, I used to get a lot of patients in that belt who are Muslims. So when I see them coming during the Ramadan time, and I still have noted I've documented some of them. Their blood work looks fantastic because they are living a very strict life. Suddenly, somebody whose cholesterol was very high looks very normal, and suddenly they finish that, and when they come back, their blood work doesn't look that great because they suddenly jump into unhealthy patterns. I'm not talking about everyone. These are few people that I've and my sample cases maybe few like 50 to 60 patients that I'm talking about. But the problem is when you go through one extreme and then if you go back to that other extreme of life back, this is more dangerous for the body.
Yeah.
So extremes, unless it is done in a proper supervision, and also it is not for everyone. There is no universal rule that everybody should follow this kind of fasting.
Yeah, one
Because
fits all. I don't
yeah.
think it exists.
And same with Panchakarma. There is a clear documentation who should not do Panchakarma. And if this is done on a person who's weak and emaciated and having a lot of malnourishing problems, Panchakarma can backfire. The same with what kind of fasting, when let's say somebody is having acidity problems. And sometimes acidity and migraine, they go hand in hand. And if somebody is having acidity, let's say they try fasting. And let's say they fasted for too long and they eat something heavy afterwards, that can backfire to them.
Correct.
So you have to be careful where it is given, whom it is given. So I don't have a clear answer, and I personally have not tried this water fasting, and I also not prescribed it. So I'm not the right person to give you that answer. But my answer to that is avoid
Extreme.
extremes, and if it is done, look at how strong you are to deal with that.
Have you seen cases where people resisted healing emotionally, mentally during Panchakarma and the results were fascinating in the end?
Especially when they're doing it for the first time and they were forced to do it, then these kind of problems can happen. Today, what I see is some people have, they, let's say they go through some allergies or some kind of a health issue that becomes their identity. Like, oh, I have this problem, and somewhere that identity has protected them and has limited them to say no to many things. See, today if you have a disease, it's much easier to say no to things rather than saying no and break that relationship. It's much easier when I have a disease, so sorry, I can't come and deal with this. Oh, I don't like that person, sorry, I'm sick, I can't come to the dinner or whatever that is. So disease is actually an incentive for some people. So maybe on the outside they want to let go of the disease, but deep inside, subconsciously or unconsciously, letting go of the disease can be a problem. This is a very spiritual approach to look at it. And in those conditions, when they are going through that healing process, they will come up with reasons why they want to do it, or when they go through the process, they look for excuses to eliminate it or stop it, because you are going to shift your identity that I'm not sick anymore, I'm going to get healthy.
Correct.
So that shift of identity, if somebody is very attached to that identity, that resistance does show up. Sometimes people say, no, I can't deal with this, I need to go. Or while during these process, sometimes people will feel tired or some allergic reaction might happen because we are trying to undo something that has been a pattern for decades. And you're trying to shift that pattern. So at that kind of time, you might see people will have to go through some uncomfortable days, and suddenly they feel that uncomfortable, they get very bored with that. And many times people are used to a very stimulating lifestyle, like
Yeah.
they constantly have the food they want, they have drama at home, and then they have television, they have mobile phones, they have work, and suddenly you're coming to a center and you are going to embrace boredom there. And what happens when you're embracing boredom, you're going to face your raw emotions.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
seeing your own demons,
Yeah,
right?
all demons are coming. So that can be quite scary for some people. But see, our team is ready to handle them, handhold them. When these thoughts are coming, maybe journal, maybe let's do some yoga nidra, let's do some, conversations. What is that you're afraid of? So when people are not comfortable dealing with their own raw emotions, they trying to say, no, I don't want to continue this. But we tell them, let's give it a try. You came all the way, you're trying to do this. Maybe just few more days and let's try it. And most of them, after they finish, they say, thanks for not letting me quit. This was a
Really?
life-changing thing. Because suddenly they say, oh, I didn't realize I had such a strong pattern of being stuck in that negative cycle of thoughts. Or, that was leading them to binge eat, or that was leading them to not sleep well.
Yeah, it's like emotions also lead you to be a certain way, right? To consume a certain way.
Yeah.
So if you're over consuming a screen, you're over consuming food, you're over consuming substance, anything, it's all coming from emotions. Something that you are feeling, and then you're saying, this is the only way I can deal with this emotion is consumption. I absolutely agree with you. You often say the body is intelligent, and you say that the solution lies within, right? Can you tell me a story or a case where symptoms actually were the body's solution and not the problem?
You see, here we have to try to understand some of the concepts that we talk about. The body is intelligent. See, body is intelligent in its own way, but at the same time, thanks to allopathic system, let's say you have an infection, and if you don't get the right support at that point of time, it can create a lot of problems. So we cannot call that as intelligence. You have to really take the right support system. But let's talk about some lifestyle issues here. Let's say I have a sweet tooth and I don't like to work out. And what is happening when I have a sweet tooth and I tend to eat unhealthy stuff and I don't work out and I am very unhealthy lifestyle? That diabetes is my wake up call. Thank God, if somebody is getting the diabetes, and I've noticed the day people get that pre-diabetic, oh, my blood sugar has gone up, that is their wake-up call. And suddenly they think, okay, now I have to work out, I have to change, I have to do the right changes. So in Ayurveda, the word for healing is also called prayaschitta. Prayaschitta means sometimes that disease is the cure. Thank God that person gets diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So now that person will start eating healthy, working out, maybe deal with the emotions much better,
Yeah.
and take better care of them,
Become mindful.
become more mindful. So that is what I call as, it's like certain times the disease that you're going through because of your certain patterns is like a wake up call that it's time you stop that pattern.
Yeah. It tells you, it's the signal to change.
Exactly. The same with many other lifestyle non-communicable diseases. This is a wake-up call that you cannot continue the same way.
Why do you think we crave sugar? Like, I'm somebody who has a sweet tooth. I don't overindulge. I'm mindful of it. Just as a person, I'm mindful. I don't overconsume anything. But I want to understand, why do some people, like, I always like to have a dessert. I like to have a piece of chocolate. I like to have something sweet. Why do we have that?
That's a genetic software imprinted on all of us, because glucose is our energy.
Yeah.
It's like the currency through which your energy is coming. And ancient times, access to these sugars were very less. Unless, on certain fruits, certain seasons, or honey, you have to climb the trees and try to get it. But today you get it much more easily.
Yeah.
And that access to unhealthy, heavy sugar, that is what is creating problems of overconsumption. So by genetics, as hunter-gatherers, we are designed to consume as much sweet, salt and fat. This is how our brain is designed, because this is where the nature's energy is stored. But today we are able to replicate that and see, if you want to start a junk food company, you just need to tick these three. It should be sweet, salty and crunchy. And this is what a junk food does. And it can be junk, that's why it's called junk. It just gives you a pseudo feeling that you are energized, but there is no good micro and macro nutrients there. So we are designed genetically to crave for sugar. That is how humans are.
And why do two people with the same diagnosis heal differently. So, for example, I consume a lot of sugar and so do you. And let's say we both reach the pre-diabetic, hypothetically speaking. You and I will heal very differently, even with the same um, process to healing. Why is that?
That's like saying you put let's say we take two identical seeds and you put it in two different soils, you can't expect the same output because the nature of the soil can be different, the nature of the environment can be different. If one soil where the sunlight is fantastic, the output will be different. In one soil where the sunlight or water availability is not that great, or if the soil is not so fertile, you will see a different output of that. So, depending on my genetic predisposition, depending on my thought process, how am I going to look at it? How am I going to embrace it? So, all of this factors in a person's healing.
Will change the treatment.
For sure. I mean, we have to, that is why we look at the word holistic. We try to understand what is that person's emotional state, what is that person's metabolic state, what is that person's rhythm in their life. Are they going through any grief, are they going through any emotional breakdown? So when a person is going through emotional breakdown, the same treatment to a person who is emotionally stable will be very different. So
the body will also
yeah,
process it very differently.
so we cannot find an one cause. There is always multiple layers that we have to look at. That is what is called holistic. We have to look at it as a whole.
So it says Ayurveda sees the person, not the disease. Can you give me an example of how that is true?
Chalo. A person comes with an allergic response. So usually what we do is when you go to a traditional like the conventional medicine, you do an allergy test and you eliminate that.
Yeah.
By eliminating it, this is done. But we also need to understand what is an allergy? Something that is not so toxic in nature, but is creating a toxic response to a person.
Correct.
Like gluten, in general, it is not so toxic, but for some people, it can overtly react. Same with milk. Some people, they love milk, but for some people, that reaction can be too much.
Yeah.
So one method is, okay, there is a allergic response, or maybe let's say there is a lactose intolerance. And this person, we try to eliminate all the lactose. This is one way to look at it. So this is how there is an intolerance, we remove it. But how to look at that person in a much more holistic approach, we ask, why is that person having this intolerance? What contributed to that intolerance? So we look at it like the metabolism was not right. The person's ability to process that lactose has gone down and the body is tired, body is overreacting. It's like, one example, you go to a normal ticket conductor in a very, crowded railway station and you go to buy a ticket. At that time, you go and ask, what are the places I can visit here? He'll just tell me where you want to go, let me give you this. But let's say you go to a foreign country where the population is 1/10 of this, and the ticket conductor is looking for somebody, not the
To come and
ticket
get a
seller
ticket.
account. Then you say, oh, you should try to go there, you should try to go here, you should try to go to this place.
Correct.
Then they want to have a conversation and you are like, please, just give me the ticket and I want to go. It's like the same situation in two different situations. So we need to understand what is that person's psychological situation. Is that person emotionally burnt out? Because when a person is emotionally burnt out, that body is always in a survival mode. And when a person is in a survival mode with the thoughts and fear and deadlines, that person's metabolism will also take a hit. So, and that can also lead to allergic response. That can also lead to people not able to lose weight. We were talking about the same treatment for two different people.
Yeah.
One person will lose weight just by changing the food and exercising more. Another person, no matter how much ever they exercise, how much ever they do, it doesn't change. So in these people, we tell them, maybe for you, it's not about eating less and working out more. Maybe you need to slow down and deal with your emotions much better. So that is what we talk about. We need to look at that person. What are his emotional status? What are his sleep habits? What are they eating on time? And then we need to also put them through a protocol where you don't get a quick fix. You need to try it for 3 months or even 4 months. And then suddenly they say, okay, maybe even if I have a little bit of milk, my body is better now.
I can take it.
I can take it. So it is not about that one particular, the body is not able to do it, so we label it for the rest of the life, it is not happening. No. We all, and you ask the same person, when was the time you had this intolerance? They say maybe last year, but before that, when I was younger, I didn't have this problem.
I was drinking milk, I was drinking everything.
Every day, and it was fine. But where did that switch happen? So what contributed to that switch? So if something contributed to that switch, maybe there are other things that can contribute to reverse that switch also. So that is what we are trying to look at it as a person. Like, we need to look at the history, we need to look at the emotional part, we need to look at the timeline where it
Yeah.
is going. So those are the aspects that we look at it as a whole person.
But don't you feel like Gen Z is way more mindful compared to the generations before when it comes to consumption? I see the trend is that Gen Z is more mindful when it comes to consumption of food, when it comes to consumption of media or information. They're more mindful of consumption of substance compared to the previous generations, overindulgence. Do you find that to be true, or do you feel like in your 11 years of experience, there is no difference in statics?
For sure, they are more conscious, they are more aware of things. Somewhere I read, I mean, we are millennials.
Yeah.
There are these baby boomers,
Yeah.
then millennials.
That was before us, yeah.
That was before us. Baby boomers, then millennials, and then
now
you have the
Gen
Gen Z.
Yeah.
I read that during baby boomers' time, they were in a very survival mode. They have to build the economy. So they didn't have the luxury to sit and think about, oh, I have depression, I have this problem, I had that problem. Once I had a patient from uh, Europe, and she was saying, so how is your emotional health? I asked this. See, I'm a single mom, divorced, and I have a child. I don't have the luxury to sit and think about myself. This was her answer. And I was like, wow, that was a uh, solid things. You know, actually, depression, in some aspects, you can look at it as a luxury problem, because you have a lot of time to think about yourself and you are not happy with yourself. This is
Overindulgence of self.
one way to look at it, because challenge, we all need challenge, and if you don't have a fulfilling challenge, then you will become your own challenge.
Correct.
One way to look at it. So this baby boomer and today's life and the generations, millennials, what I see, baby boomers, they didn't have so much time to think for themselves. They have to work. The economy had to be built.
They were building the world.
They were building what we are enjoying today.
Correct.
And then you had the millennials who are half traumatized, half liberated. On one hand, you know, you had the benefit of that, and you saw the world before the internet, and you see the world after internet. You were at that inflection point.
Yeah.
Suddenly, from changing what it used to be and what it is today.
We are in between.
We are in between.
Yeah.
And then you have the Gen Z who got very spoiled. Spoiled means they had
Privileged.
access. Everything was very quick. I mean, I wouldn't call them privileged, because they were, you know.
No, but like information is accessible to them compared to us. We had
compared
to go
to
to
us,
a
yes.
library to know something.
Exactly.
When we were kids, we didn't know. There was no way of finding out. We couldn't click on a screen and find out. Today, Gen Z has grown up with Google. They've grown up with, you know, search engines. They've grown up with AI. So, I mean, it's completely different. Their response to the world is very different.
Exactly. So when you see the surroundings that they grew up with, so when you look at the previous generation, the baby boomers, they suppressed their emotional health and they were heavy into alcohol. And millennials were also like, finally, okay, I have this problem. Maybe I'm going through this problem. They're just slowly realizing certain things are happening. And you see the Gen Z, they're like, oh my God, I see it immediately. I have to not drink alcohol. This is not healthy. So one generation normalized it. Other generation was like confused. Should I question it? Should we really have this? Because everywhere you see, okay, sipping a glass of, one person was saying, at one point of time, it took you 9 months to travel from one continent to another. Today, you get on a flight and after 4 champagnes, you are in a new continent. This is how people were dramatizing how things were. People were normalizing it. But Gen Z, they had more right to think about what is happening, because things were in a much better way. They didn't have to suffer the way the baby boomers have to suffer, and millennials have to deal with that generation and this generation. And Gen Z had a little more luxury to think for themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how my opinion is. Like, baby boomers were drugged. I mean, alcohol was used to suppress their mental health. And then you had millennials who were like, finally they are realizing this is happening. And then you had the other one that is, you know, medicated. I had a patient who came with anxiety and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Like, you know, when they eat something, suddenly they have a loose stools, and sometimes it becomes constipation. Sometimes suddenly it turns to be loose stools. And naturally, she was going through mental health issues. So we were trying to help them. And I told her, can you have a detox from media for some time? Like stop following news, stop following social media for some time. Said, actually, social media helped me to follow certain things about mental health. And she was following all that about what creates anxiety, what creates therapy, what. So can we just get rid
Switch
of
off.
that, switch off all of that? And she said, actually, that was the biggest hack she went through. Because suddenly, when you keep reading about, oh, this is creating this problem, this is creating this problem, sometimes over information can also make you anxious.
Not only that, her brain might be saying she has those problems and she doesn't.
That's
We are
also
so
another way to look.
we are so fast to relate ourselves to what we're reading, right? So, if you explain 5 biggest problems that people come with to Ayurveda, I'll probably think in my mind, I also have 1, 2 of them. It's like we want to, belong
Yeah,
to anything
exactly.
that's coming towards us. So it could be just that. Actually, that makes me want to ask you, what are the top 5 problems people come with for Ayurveda?
So, the top 5 problems that I've seen in my history, I see a lot of patients coming with allergies, like hay fever, allergies to milk, gluten, skin allergies. This is one thing that I see. Another thing is mental health and associated with sleep. So in Ayurveda, we say the one of the first symptoms that you will notice when your mental health is not best is your sleep gets impacted. You become a light sleeper or you get erratic in your sleep. This is one thing. So either you correct the sleep and the mental health gets better, or you correct the mental health and your sleep gets better. It's like chicken and the egg. But you help both of that. Third one, lot of people come with gut health issues. Either they feel bloated or they feel constipated or they feel acidic, or where people have, after they eat, they have a dragon fire coming out. Sometimes it can be they are eating a lot of outside food, junk food, and irregular eating time. So they eat very quickly. So correcting this can help. Fourth one, lot of autoimmune conditions, arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, psoriasis, like multiple sclerosis. These kind of conditions also come. And the fifth one, another thing that I see in women, they come for fertility, like they would have been diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome
Yeah.
or endometriosis, the menstrual health. These and also menopause, perimenopause and menopause. Should I take the hormone replacement therapy? My hot flashes and heat waves are very high. So in my practice, I see these are the 5 conditions they come.
I want to talk about the gut issues because I feel like when I'm interacting with people, most people I meet, 1 out of 3 will say they have some sort of gut issue. Like you said, constipation, loose stool, acidity being a very major one. And it's almost like everyone believes, oh, I just ate this, that's why I'm acidic. Oh, I just ate that, gave me acidity. I ate outside, now it gave me acidity. Like we have started, like you said, the new normal, we have started normalizing acidity. That is due to that one thing I ate, acidity occurred. Can you explain with through Ayurveda what is acidity? Why does it happen? What are the first few basic things to do to help yourself?
See, today, the life that we live today, it is not how we are actually designed to live. We live in a very fast culture. Like people eat when it is convenient for them. They don't eat on time. And they eat a lot of outside food. We don't know what oil is being prepared and what kind of food is being given to you. And you eating outside is the new normal today. Like eating at home is like once in a while. Like in the past, like since we are a millennial, we know that before the pre-Swiggy, pre-Uber Eats era, eating home was the normal, and maybe once in 2 or 3 months we go out and eat. Maybe once in a month.
Yeah.
And that used to be one of the precious time we enjoyed.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
celebration
it is a
moment.
celebration. And today it is the other way around. Everybody, you are getting a voucher, come to this restaurant, you get this, and you come again, you'll get another voucher. And then there are people, just like we scroll through social media, there are people who scroll through this instant food thing. Okay,
Apps.
what food, what is that giving? So when you eat outside food, which is not designed for your health, which is designed just for gastronomic pleasure, the body is finding it hard to digest. So you need more heat to digest that. When food is very heavy for you, for your body to digest, acidity can be a very lazy man's explanation that the body needs more heat or acid to digest that. It's a very if I have to explain this to a little child, this is how you can make them understand. So when you eat heavy food, not properly digested, I mean, you don't eat on time. This is a normal thing that can happen. Sometimes when you eat outside food late at night and then you go to bed immediately, you have the acid reflux coming.
Yeah.
So many people, they stop eating outside food. They eat good, clean, healthy cooked food at home and they eat slow. This itself can reverse the acidity problems. But not for everyone. I'm saying many conditions gets reversed just like this.
Yeah, I'm talking about people who commonly face acidity just because of lifestyle choices, not
Yeah.
because they actually have gut issues.
So when patient comes and says, I tell them, do you think you have the possibility to change your lifestyle? They say, no, I cannot change the lifestyle. Okay, then there are these medications that you can try, or sometimes even Ayurvedic medications cannot help. They have to go and take pantoprazole or Randac because that's the only thing that will help them. It's like either you change your lifestyle or say, no, I cannot change my lifestyle. I have to, this is the kind of life I have to live. Then you have to learn to endure it.
Yeah, it's like pros and cons,
Yeah,
right? Which are you
exactly.
comfortable with? I completely agree. Why do some people follow perfect diets and still don't heal? What are they missing?
Diet is just one element of your life. Diet need, I mean, on the other hand, you'll also see people who eat unhealthy and are looking quite fit and healthy. So, diet is just one aspect. You have emotions, you have sleep, you have social community, you have how happy are you in your work, and all of this. And are you exposed to a lot of unhealthy stuff? Is the water very good in your home and your exposure to that? And how is the the weather condition? Some people can be very sensitive to the extreme cold weather, or if it is very dry weather. So diet is just one aspect of your whole life. It's not everything. But many of the conditions can be changed with your diet. But saying that even though you see a lot of people eating healthy, but if their mental health is not good, it's not going to change many things. So you have to tick all the boxes.
Not one.
Not one is just one aspect of
I know,
it.
but like, you know how today everyone thinks like a diet will fix it. A diet will fix how I look. A diet will fix how I feel. It's not even from a nutrition point of view. It's more like aesthetically. And I think the belief is that, you know, diets are everything. And I myself don't believe in it because I feel like diet is only an aspect. What about the rest of it? You know, your mental health, your mental diet is also very important. What you input, what you output, just like you do with your physical health. So absolutely, I completely agree.
See,
It's not just one
So my opinion on diet, you look at the first three letters of the word diet.
die.
Yeah. If it is making you starve, if it is making you go through, oh my God, I'm going to miss out on something, then that is what it is going to do to you. But if you look at, what we need to do is improve your relationship with food. Is the food nourishing me? Is it satisfying your cravings, or is it helping you with your hunger? Hunger and cravings are two different things.
Correct.
Cravings, you are focused and obsessed with one particular thing that is giving you entertainment. Hunger, and when you're eating the right healthy food, it is you're nourishing your body. So many people misunderstand craving for hunger, and because they forgot what it means to feel really hungry. Craving is I'm asking for entertainment. Hunger is my body needs good energy. So that intuitive feeling that we all have is being hijacked by this high entertaining, high stimulating world with food and entertainment. So that is what we need to reverse. People are today very averse to boredom.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest cause of many of the health problems today.
You mentioned sleep a few times. Tell me, according to Ayurveda, what is the importance of sleep? What kind of sleep do you mean? How much sleep do we really need? Because I feel like a lot of people are selling a lot of concepts. You know, 6 hours is enough, 10 hours is good, minimum 8 hours, minimum 5 hours. Good sleep is important, not maximum sleep is important. So I think there's so many concepts out there. Can you explain, according to Ayurveda, what is sleep? Why is it important? What do we need?
So from an Ayurvedic perspective, a good sleep is rasayana. It's a very anti-aging, nourishing, and it keeps your mental health and your metabolisms intact. Now, it is not about the duration, it is also about
Quality.
what time you go to sleep and the quality. So, in Ayurvedic textbooks, going to sleep in the kapha kala, that is between 10 onwards, 10 p.m. onwards. If you're able to hit your bed by 10 p.m., that is when your sleep is fantastic. And also, if you look at the hormonal releases in the body, melatonin releases between 8 and 11. So when you catch that first wave and go to sleep, you are able to hit deep sleep much quicker. And it's not like you can, let's say you have a habit of going to sleep at 12 and 1 a.m. And this can lead to a lot of health problems. Your metabolism takes a havoc. Even if you, let's say you go to sleep at 4 a.m., even if you sleep for 10 hours, you're still going to wake up tired. But you go to sleep at 10 p.m., even if you get up at, let's say, 4 a.m., maybe your sleep is 6 hours or maybe even less than that, you will still get up fresh. So that deep sleep, along with going to sleep by 10 or maybe not later than 11 p.m., that is when your body feels good, rested and refreshed. So that time is important, and then your duration is what matters.
So let's talk about modern life and how it is almost anti-Ayurveda. I'm not saying it is, but it seems like. According to you, from what you see in your patients, what modern habit is silently destroying health the fastest?
Constant stimulation and entertainment. That the need that I cannot wait. And if you actually notice, people who are sick, we call them patients. And they are called patients because they cannot be patient. So we live in a very impatient, fast, instant gratification culture. This is the most anti-Ayurvedic thing. And when you start embracing Ayurveda, what is the holy grail of healing? Slow down.
Being still.
More than still, slow down. Slowing, there's a saying, we slow down to go faster.
So, can you share a case where someone's come to you where their success, ambition, or productivity was the root cause of their illness?
So there was a patient, and he was in his mid 40s, a very successful person, has everything that money can buy, but deep inside, not fulfilled. Sleep is disturbed, mental health not the best, and always creating, flu and falling sick. Comes with a diagnosis called burnout. So when you look at that person, that life is inhuman. They travel, take flights to different continents, different time zones. Sleep is always disturbed. And that burnout was actually a wake up call. And what was their symptoms? Sleep is always disturbed, digestion is weak, lack of motivation. I don't feel like doing anything. I feel that I have everything, but I just lost. I am feeling very numb in the mind. This was the condition. So when they come, they go through that process of 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, they slow down. Finally, in that slowness, they start embracing boredom, they start embracing novelty with themselves. They didn't realize that, oh, I never sat down and appreciated the food that I'm eating. Oh, I never appreciated, just waking up and just without any decisions to be made for the day. That slowness was the antidote for their problem that they were going through. So, and along with that, we put them through the protocols like yoga and Shirodhara and the Panchakarma. They are eliminating the excess, living a healthy lifestyle, and that is when the switch happens. So, this is how, and that is when suddenly, okay, now I feel what I want to shift in my life. It's not about all the materialistic things. Maybe what I want, see, there is a saying, success without fulfillment is worse than failure. And finally, what is that fulfillment? Fulfillment means maybe everything no, maybe you're not happy with what your body and mind has, but your soul is happy, and that soul's happiness is also very important. Like we have a saying in Kerala, when the soul is frustrated in your body, you will start getting more and more disease, so you die quickly and you take rebirth and start fresh. And sometimes when you see people, they are getting into more unhealthy habits. It's like they are in a euthanasia life. They want to kill themselves. The way they eat, the way they drink, the way they behave, the way they
They are
interact in their
living.
life. It's like I want to die quickly. The way they drive and everything in their life. So somewhere you're so frustrated with your life, you engage in those kind of activities. So to change that, when you slow down and you start making peace, actually you don't have to go so fast.
Yeah, so success, ambition, and like I said, productivity sometimes can be your biggest weapon, right, against yourself.
See, for that, I would like to say what George Carlin said. Today, we live in a world, we buy things we don't need with the money we don't have to impress people we don't like.
Or we don't know.
Or we don't know. And just coming out of that pattern itself is healing today.
Do you think Ayurveda sees certain things that blood tests don't?
See, blood test is again what for example, you could have mental health issues. But blood test will not give you the direct correlation. Blood test will give you an indirect appearance. So blood test is just about the physical side. There are many things that the blood test cannot explain. So let's say something is deficient in my system, something is excess in my system. Blood test will give you a clarity about it. Blood test is more like a rough calculation, like it's like a calculated guess. How to look at the body at the end of the day, what is more important? How you feel in your body.
Yeah.
I've seen patients, they could have certain blood biomarkers above normal and they are very healthy. And at the same time, you will also see people whose blood markers, everything looking very perfect, but they are not so healthy. So it is a pointing towards, it's like it is like a possibility that when this is like just pointing towards that direction. So again, that is what blood test is, just one aspect of your body.
So nowadays there's a lot of health trends. Do you find people who have damaged their health because of following some popular wellness trends, and what according to you is one of the most dangerous ones?
One thing I've noticed, when a person has been born and brought up eating meat, and suddenly overnight, cold turkey, they become vegan, then the body goes through its own problems.
The body will go through stress.
Stress. And the vice versa. Somebody is born vegetarian, like born and brought up in a vegetarian home, and they've been dealing with that. And suddenly they shift their diet and they think that meat can happen. And suddenly they eat, they get bloated and they're not able to digest it well, and this happens. And the same, there was a patient who came with severe gut health issues. And I was trying to understand, what are you going through? He was complaining about constipation, bloating, and heaviness in the stomach. Then, what happened to you? No, I was told that I need to take a lot more protein. And that person was taking a lot of whey protein and mixing it with milk and banana and having it. It's not about the whey protein is bad. The way he was consuming it, and he thought, I need to consume more protein, and that is how I'm going to feel healthier. And along with the protein, the other foods that is not being balanced properly, and then was just focusing on fitness. See, there is a significant difference between fitness and health. Fitness means, your house is looking very nice, ergonomically fit, the interior design is great. But health means how strong is the foundation, how strong is the plumbing part, how strong is the wiring part, how strong is the roof. If a cyclone comes, is it going to go away and you're going to have a lot of leaks? So many times when people are obsessed with fitness, then they get into health problems. This is one thing I have observed.
Yeah, the choices are towards the fitness part, not the health part. But I think they're made to believe that this is healthy. Like what you mentioned is very true. The consumption of protein has become so prevalent. Like everyone talks about it without even having knowledge. You will hear every third person saying, I don't think you don't eat enough protein. And especially like as a vegetarian, I've seen everyone gives me gyan. You don't eat protein. You should eat more this. You should eat more that. But I just feel like I'm able to function for the last how many years of my life. I've lived 4 decades. I've not had issues without the animal protein. Why do I have to start now? So, do you think even that's a propaganda somewhere?
See, everyone's response to protein will be different. So, like there's a saying, I love using it in many of my patients when they come and tell, see, sometimes the surgery was very successful, but the patient died. What we want is the food we eat, is it helping you to function normally? Are you having good energy to do the things that you wanted to do? Or is it giving you bloating? Is it giving you a lot of gas? Is it giving you a lot of heaviness? Is it making you sluggish afterwards? Then you need to revisit things. So it is not about, see, protein is a very important thing. And yes, it is true. Many patients who come and say they are vegetarians, they are not vegetarians, they are carbitarians. They eat a lot of carbs. So definitely they also need good fiber, good proteins, good micros and macros. All of this matters. But what is the most important hallmark? After they eat the food, how do they feel? That is the best advice that you can get, what you're eating is good for you or not. And people need to be aware of that. And as a doctor, many times I ask them, how do you feel after that? Let's try this for 2 weeks. And then when you say, why are you telling me to try? Because here we need to do a lot of trial and error. Everybody is different. So what I tell them is, whenever they have gut health issues, please keep a tracker sheet. What I eat, how do I feel afterwards? Sometimes what you eat today, you will see the difference after 3 days.
Yeah.
Maybe heavy, sick, or light and energetic.
Yeah.
Depending on what you do. And many people think the connecting the dots should be immediate. What I eat today, I should feel it immediately now. It doesn't come that way. So that tracker sheet is one thing that I tell them. Let us try to focus how you are feeling. Sometimes it's not. This gentleman that I told who was taking, he was taking like 3 scoops of whey protein a day. And I think that is too much. And instead of taking one full scoop, and if your gut is very sensitive, let us just split it. And that change itself helped him. And then I told him, let us add more other fibers in your diet. This person was not taking enough fiber. So, and also, it's not just workout is just one aspect. Then your sleep comes, then your emotions come, then how you are dealing with your loneliness. He was going through another loneliness problems. So, all of this is intertwined.
Absolutely. It is all intertwined. Emotional, mental, physical and spiritual. They're like four
Exactly, yeah.
aspects, right? And all four matter. We're not made up of just one. So tell me, if someone could change just one food habit based on Ayurveda, what would you encourage them to change?
So there are 2 schools of thought that say, one is you eat on time, other is you eat when you're hungry.
Yeah.
So from an Ayurvedic perspective, you should design your life in such a way that you get hungry on time and then you eat on time. That sequence when you follow, that is the way to do it. And overeating is not the best. Eat in such a way that, nobody died because they eat less. So there's a saying, if you love to eat a lot, you eat less, so you live long enough to eat a lot. That's another way to look at it.
So you travel and study lesser known healing traditions globally. Is there a practice or insight that deeply changed how you practice Ayurveda?
One thing is, in yogic traditions, there's this therapy called Yoga Nidra. And from an Ayurvedic perspective, we do a lot of Ayurvedic treatments. But from the yoga tradition, this Yoga Nidra is something that I have seen giving phenomenal results in people today. Because today, people are on a fast-paced life. Like if you take burnout, if you take all the hormonal changes that are happening, people today, they are programmed in a way that you should not relax, you should not chill, you should not pause, you should not slow down. And Yoga Nidra is like you are using certain script pre-recorded, and when you listen to that, you put a person through a relaxation part. And when people do go through this, they are able to finally let go of that tension in their body and mind. So according to me, integrating Yoga Nidra, even though many people think Yoga Nidra is Ayurveda, but it's coming from a yogic tradition. When I integrate Yoga Nidra in my practice with many patients, I see their gut health is improving, their sleep gets improved, their body pain changes, their hormones are also impacted. Now, I cannot give you with a randomized double-blind study understanding of this. But what I see is after they start incorporating Yoga Nidra for 3 to 4 months, they are a very different person altogether.
Wow.
Now, people talk about pranayama, breath work.
Yeah.
Like you are focusing on your breath, but if you take Yoga Nidra, you are relaxing your body at the same time. You are focusing on your breath and each and every part of the body.
You mentioned hormone a few times. I want to ask you, nowadays, I hear of 7 to 8-year-olds going into puberty. So, I'm not saying the 7 to 8-year-olds are stressed, right? It's not like their parents are stressing them. But why do you think that shift has happened from 13, 14 to 7, 8, 9 now?
Because of the food and the lifestyle. Because again, coming back to eating out was not so rampant like how it was during our childhood. But today, eating out is very common. That is one correlation I can see. These kids, they eat a lot of outside food, junk food. And then you start seeing that how this is impacting their hormones and you're seeing early puberty. And if you go to the villages where people eat healthy food, home cooked food, and if you're able to see that relation, that unless that village also has a lot of unhealthy junk food coming into their table.
Yeah.
But when you see home cooked food and eating healthy, and then also you see this early premature puberty happening, then we have to question maybe there is something else, or maybe the evolution is changing. But one thing that I can see is the eating outside the unhealthy food is becoming more and more rampant today.
I completely agree. And I think that could also be one of the reasons for the fertility issues which didn't exist before.
Yeah.
Because even now, if you see the low socioeconomic backgrounds, they're able to conceive much easily and faster, and they will have 5 kids. But you see people in a higher socioeconomic background, they are struggling because of the eating out so much, the partying, the lifestyles are such stress, and I think that kind of limits fertility as well.
Once a patient came to me for fertility reasons. In her early 40s, first child she wanted to have. She said, I have frozen my egg. Now I want to also check before I try that, if I can conceive naturally. And then she was giving me an observation that she was made, and I was like, wow. She was like, doctor, when I go to some of the parts of India and suddenly you go in the traffic and you stuck, you see a lot of these people in the slums, they carry babies and they produce babies so easily. Why I'm living in a very healthy healthy world, hygiene world, I have access to good food, still why is it so difficult for my body to produce a baby? Like, why is fertility such an issue? It's because they follow the rhythm of nature. Maybe from outside they look like they are living in a very unhealthy, maybe hygiene is a issue, but they go to sleep on time, they wake up on time, their needs in life are much less. And our body is not designed for so much of travel, so much of junk food, so much of this mental stimulation. That is a very anti-fertile lifestyle that we are living.
Finally, Dr. Vignesh, tell me, if someone listening feels disconnected from their body, exhausted and confused, where should they begin today?
Prioritize their sleep and start incorporating yoga nidra and pranayama. Because once you start integrating yoga nidra and pranayama, you are becoming aware of your breath. And in yoga nidra, there's a constant guidance. Be aware of your feet, be aware of your body, be aware of your neck. And that awareness and awareness of your breath is the way you slowly start accepting and connecting with your own body. And from there, it will start changing things. And then you'll get aware of, okay, how am I feeling after I eat food? Today, many people are numb with the kind of lifestyle that they are living. And that numbness should shift, and you're recalibrating and desensitized part, you have to get more sensitive. So this is 2 easy steps: slow breathing or pranayama, or listening to a yoga nidra once a day. This is an easy way to get connected with yourself.
I'm going to try that today. Thank you so much, Doctor. I have to say this was a very mindful conversation, and I'm definitely going to apply some of that to my life too. And I hope whoever's listening is able to see how they are maybe living a numb life and how they're not realizing they're perpetually stimulated and how they need to slow down and reflect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashna. Your body gives you signals long before it makes you feel sick. Hello, I am Dr. Vignesh Devraj, an Ayurvedic physician. If you are looking forward to learn about Ayurveda and integrating Ayurveda into your lifestyle, please listen to this conversation in the human thread in all the platforms.